Hi everyone, my name is Edmundas, coming back to you again with another Facebook Live session from Techstars Toronto. Today we have a very cool guest, a guest from Techstars Montreal AI program, Bruno.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi Bruno, thank
Edmundas,
you.
Eddie
Finally, we got the fake handshake
I'm
on the
looking on your
camera.
Eddie travels.
Thank you. So thank you for taking the time to jump on a quick session. I think this is going to be very helpful for my startup friends in Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine, and hopefully maybe one of them will get into your program. Everyone is happy, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we can start from if you can just tell a few words about yourself and Techstars Montreal's program.
Sure. So my name is Bruno Morency. I'm born and raised in Montreal, so running the program there. I've been in startups pretty much my whole career since leaving university. So I studied engineering, so I'm technical background.
Mm-hmm.
And so the last startup I started, we were doing an email data API. So developers who wanted to integrate the email accounts of their users, for example, for productivity or Salesforce management, things like this, instead of learning protocols like IMAP that are highly technical and not good to deal with, we had this nice REST layer on top of it. So that was called Context.io. We were acquired by a company in the US called ReturnPath. Stayed there for roughly 3 years. And the product still existed up until I think the end of March. They're unfortunately pulling the plug on it.
Awesome.
But it lasted longer with the acquirer than lasted with me.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And so I spent some time with VC Fund as entrepreneur in residence right after, doing due diligence on the team. I decided to join that team for about 2 years, working on collaboration and training for manufacturing floors. On manufacturing floor, sorry, and then Techstars came. So I've been running the first program last fall. The Montreal program is focused on AI.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that the mentor pool is highly focused on people from AI startups, and the company we pick all need to have AI at the core of what they're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the background, and this is I guess, what startup founders love from an investor. Have built a startup, understands product and technical part, and also tried many other hats. This is
Yeah,
great.
product management, engineering, like bringing tech to market has always been the thing I really love about it. So Techstars is a great way to be on a little bit more on the side of the investor, but still very close and hands-on with the companies. To the point that it's useful. So I'm loving it so far.
Great. So why AI and why AI in Montreal?
That's a good question. So let's take the first one as to why in Montreal. The deep learning has been a topic of research for Joshua Benjo and other people. And him in Université de Montréal. He's been on this for a quarter century doing research while everybody was no longer funding it after the first boom a few decades ago. And you guys also Joël Pinot at the McGill University with the machine learning lab. They created the Montreal Institute of Learning Algorithms to collaborate more. Typically, people don't collaborate from the different universities, so they wanted to push that. And basically, that created a pool of talent that are well versed in these techniques around learning, machine learning, deep learning, reinforced learning to some point, and that attracted a lot of people to come and establish AI labs in Montreal in the last 3 years. So Google DeepMind has a big office here. Samsung started. Facebook AI Research is also in Montreal. Microsoft bought a company called Maluba to establish their AI research lab in Montreal around NLP. Thales from Europe started a lab as well. So there's a bunch, and there's Element AI, who's basically a startup, but is comparable in size, not yet in size of employees, but in terms of mind share that the bigger labs take. So that's why you have this AI theme in Montreal for Techstars. Now, what does a Techstars AI program mean? We're trying to be a lot more on the application of AI rather than the research. So all these research labs that I just mentioned have spent most of their efforts on the research aspect, and we want to see startups that can leverage what Techstars has to offer, which is the 3-month program, the network that comes after. And we're really looking for people who apply the state of the art to a specific problem in a given industry. And that they're at a point where they can leverage what the Techstars has to offer.
Awesome. Cool. And maybe you can tell a few more words, maybe also like who else is involved from mentoring side, helping out with the program, because I trust my friends and colleagues who will be watching this to do general research about Techstars, and actually if they're in building a startup, they should already know what Techstars is. But just specifically, maybe like who would be mentoring, helping out, and how.
Yeah, so the core mentor pool is mostly startup founders, business leaders, sales leaders, research and engineering leaders, mostly from AI startups, but from other companies as well. But so we have people, the leader of the Google DeepMind team, for example, is here. One of the early engineers, the first outside engineer, Maluba, is also a mentor. We have people from the smaller startups like Automat and bigger startups like Element AI. For example, we had the head director of research, Valérie, was a mentor. But we also have more people who are not necessarily AI people, but will bring knowledge of given industries. Since the program is not industry specific, we're trying to find people who bring knowledge or contacts
from their industries.
Yeah, from their industries. So we're trying to find mentors that will, founders typically do good mentors, but a type of mentor that is also very useful is the person that came in after the founding team and was the first outside hire, as for example in sales, and built that unit.
Scaled the sales team.
So took sales function from the CEO and built the sales team in a real process behind it from one to a team of 20 salespeople. So these people typically, although they're not founders themselves, have a lot to bring to entrepreneurs as mentors.
Absolutely. And from listeners who might be interested in the program, what do you expect from the startups that are applying to Techstars?
So there's no set criteria really. It's never too late. It's never really too early. That being said, we want to see a team. Like we want to see more than one person. That doesn't mean it has to be more than one founder, but if there's only a solo founder, there has to be a solid team around the person. Otherwise, it's pretty tough to do something like Techstars on your own. So that's a pretty hardcore criteria there. But in terms of there's no need for revenue, there's no need for a minimum time in the market or things like this. So what we're looking for in companies, obviously the team is the first thing we're looking for. Do we believe this group of people will push a company to all the struggles that come doing a startup, and we look at the team before the idea, because ideas change a lot. Sometimes it's where you apply the idea. Sometimes it's the idea itself applied. You change the idea.
Startups pivot all the time.
Exactly. Yes. So we need to trust the team more than the idea they're building.
Sure. Maybe then I can direct this. Like, what AI industries are you interested in? Where do you see that most disruption will happen? Or from other hand, and this can be a second question actually, like which AI technologies do you see changing how we work?
We try to keep our eyes as open as possible in terms of industries. So what we want to see when we look at applications is someone that has identified an industry problem, that knows this industry well, and can pitch how a solution built on a given AI model doing this type of classification, this type of prediction, solve this problem 10 times better than whatever is the current solution for this in this industry. And then if that exists, then we look at the same thing. The second thing we look at is, okay, where's your data set? Do you have the seeds of an AI model that's already trained to some degree? Have you tried different techniques? Is it a public data set? Is it a data set you built yourself through your own app that you had users use that generated this data? Where is it from? And so if you have like an industry problem worth solving, which is generic to all, you don't start a company that does not exist. So if you have an industry problem worth solving, an AI-based solution that is 10 times better than any other existing solutions to solve that problem. The seeds of the AI model is already starting. You have the data set, you have access to data, and there's a strong technical team behind it. Then that's a very strong candidate for our program.
Got it. So what if, and this also happens, if there's a strong technical team,
Yeah.
but they have not figured out this commercial exact application. They're passionate about building this technology into a startup, right? Maybe they don't have a salesperson or a marketing person to take it to the market.
Yeah. So that's not that doesn't disqualify someone. The fact that you don't have a marketing person and a salesperson. I think a lot of what Techstars focuses is really bringing your product to market and helping you make that happen. So that's a good reason to join the program at Techstars. Is okay. I have this thing. I have a few early customers that I had great calls with, strong interest.
Yeah.
And now what do I do next? So this is where it's good. That being said, we want to avoid having teams that have a tech looking for a problem.
Mm-hmm.
This tends to be the wrong way to go at it. You want to start with the problem and find the tech to solve it, rather than having a tech and figuring out where to apply it. So that's a bit tougher, because sometimes it's just throwing darts and.
Cool. Yeah, this makes sense. And this Techstars network, it's definitely people can even maybe find additional co-founder or hire the first people.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking forward to my first visit in Montreal, and I've heard that it's in Quebec. It's in French-speaking part of Canada.
Yeah.
People were probably asking about it. So is the French language needed? Is it, or you can get around in English?
The program is running in English.
Mm-hmm.
So all presentations, workshops, all mentors, the mentor. So obviously, we had 2 teams from Montreal in the last class. One of them was pretty much all francophones, French-speaking people. So when the mentor was also a francophone,
Mm-hmm.
and the meeting happened in French. French is my first language, so if the team is French-speaking, then I'll obviously interact in French. But the most of the program runs in English, so
Sure.
that's the language should not be an issue.
You're looking for teams globally.
Teams globally. So last class we had 4 teams from Canada, 1 from the Bay Area, 1 coming from, they were doing Startup Chile. But that team itself is global. So there's this 1 girl from Colombia, a guy from Alberta, and a guy from London, in UK. And they decided to establish themselves in Montreal now after the program. And we had a company from London doing an AI stylist. That was pretty awesome. And we had a company from Tel Aviv as well. The CEO was already established in Montreal, but the rest of his engineering team was based in Israel. So yeah, 4 out of 6 were out of Canada, and from the Canadian companies, we only had 2 that were actually based in Montreal before the program.
Cool. Actually, talking about the press program, maybe you can mention some numbers or some seed rounds, A rounds. Yes. That have been raised, and which companies?
Yeah, so 1 company got in the program finishing up their pre-seed round. So they got in with they wanted to not announce the full round, but the round was 7-digit getting in. So for them, the purpose of the program was not trying to raise a seed. It was, okay, we have a lot of money in the bank.
Yeah.
How can we make sure we iterate fast enough and make the mistakes we need to make in 2 weeks rather than 2 months?
Yeah.
So we hit the milestones before we run out of money and need to raise the next round. So they spent most of the program, okay, we're recruiting, we're building a team. How should we approach building the culture we want to build? How do we have the fuel? Like what's the best way to go ahead? One other team raised during the program a round that was about 600K from European investors, and another raised a week before demo day. So they had that's a team from Israel, Green Eye. They had some funding from a previous idea. They completely changed the idea. They were doing a Shazam for plants. So you could take a picture of a plant and it would tell you exactly what it is. They got funding for that, but eventually pivoted to applying this to farming and basically figuring out, is a plant in my field the crop I want to grow, or is it a weed?
It's probably a bigger market.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just not crop and not crop. It's just, if it's not the crop, what type of weed it is, because generic pesticides are no longer efficient. There's issues there. So I might need to buy specialized pesticides. So they're more expensive. I want to make sure that there's a good assessment of what's in my field. And now they're trying to push it to a point where it's integrated in the sprayer and only sprays where the weed is. So there's much less going on the plants we eat, much less going on the soil and in the water. So they raised around just before demo day from an investor both in Montreal and in Boston.
Awesome. Any of these foreign teams applied for the Startup Canada visa?
No, the one team that decided to move, the team that did Startup Chile, since one of the guys was Canadian, that's how they got through, and I don't think they needed the Startup Canada visa because he was based here, so he could do most of it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're applying, so I'm just interested in our case.
But in that case, yes, to come do the program, you don't need to have the visa before.
Of course.
But as you are proof of. But if you want to stay, then yes, Techstars and our partner Real Ventures can work to get that. Although the Startup Canada program is a bit different in Quebec, but there is the equivalent that you can do if you want to build your business in Montreal.
Cool. So Startup Canada visa is just a program so you can get a long-term residency and stay in Canada to build continuous.
Yeah, it's basically like a work visa where you work for yourself. So the employer is your company rather than somebody else who can sign off for you. So no, it's a good thing.
Cool. So wrapping up for this first visit to Montreal, what I should definitely check out.
You mean for startups or for the fun social side?
Both. Let's do both. For both.
Just walk around the city. Go around in the older part of town. It's just there's something about the vibe of the city that's very lively at hours of the day. Get out of downtown. Like go around at Water Market, around the canal. Go up north in the Mile End extension and Little Italy. There's a lot of foreign communities. Just taking a walk and getting to a small restaurant is always nice.
And for startups coming to Montreal?
For startups, so I would definitely try to find some time to go hang out at Nutman House, which is where we run the program. It's well located, and there's a coffee shop downstairs where there's plenty of people that are excited about companies. There's a lot of meetups that are at Nutman House. So no, that's it. It's one very great community to visit. If you come, that's where we run the program. That's the reason why.
Awesome. Sounds great. I'll be adding the links to the program description of Techstars Montreal in the description of this video. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, thanks a lot.